Destined rivals booster boxes have crashed. Obviously, just kidding, but they have dropped in price a bit, but only for one day. It's kind of weird why this happened. I don't know. It just seemed like it was kind of out of nowhere where prices dropped, but they did. As you can see here, lowest listed is 237. And I'll show you guys really it was just one day where prices dropped. So you can see here 2 days ago on June 11th, average price sold was 252, and you can see here 73 boxes sold. But you can see the day after, which was yesterday, you can see prices dropped to 235, and then pretty much the same amount of boxes sold. So why did they drop $15, $17 in one day? Not really sure, but they did drop from where they're at previously in the 250s all the way down to the 230s, which this was basically how much they dropped on release for the first few hours, and then they went up. Here was the release day. You can see that an average price of 252, but originally when they did drop the first few hours of release, they did drop to around this price point. But just today, or just yesterday, I mean, they have dropped down to that price. So interesting why this happened. Like I said, I don't know why this happened. You'll see later. There's really no reason it seems like this. Why would this have happened other than just one person maybe listing maybe $15 on the market, more people just copying lowest listed, and then that's sort of being the reason why this has happened. Because other than that, there seems to be no other factors. I mean, you look at sales volume, it is basically the exact same as been previously. It's not like we're seeing a downward slope of sales volume that is leading up to this price drop. Sales volume has been pretty consistent, so it just seems like prices just randomly dropped yesterday. But if you do look at the amount of supply on the market, this quickly does go back up to 250. As you can see here, there's 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14 boxes, and you're back at 250. So by the time you watch this, unless more people list at this price point, they may have just gone back up to 250. But it is worth noting that just yesterday they did drop to this price point, which, like I said, I feel like there's really no reason for that to happen, but they did. So interesting to see that they've dropped this much. What's even more interesting is that you can actually buy this on eBay for around the same price. If you go look here, you'll notice there's one listing for pretty much TCG market price in under 240, which is right here. But everything else you'll notice is way more expensive. You can see this is lowest listed. I'll show you guys who it is, but everyone else you can see is 260, 280, 250, 270, 250, 270. There's really no one else listing it this low. But the one person that is listing it that low is Football Pete. Everybody knows this person. And they have it lowest listed right now for just under 240. So I don't know if prices have gone back up to 250, but if they have, by the time you watch this video, check to see if you want to buy them for under market. If you're wanting to buy at this price point, you can buy them from Football Pete for $200 or just under $240. Now, going on, just looking at some other products for Destined Rivals, just to see if there's any indication that prices may drop further. The ETBs have dropped all the way down to around $85. Still pretty expensive, but it is worth noting they have consistently gone down. But this is a product that you can find at retail shelves, unlike booster boxes. So to see this downward slope is a lot more, would be a lot more, I guess, expected, because just over time people are going to keep flipping these, putting them on the market, and prices have consistently gone down for this. But sales volume still has been pretty high. I mean, at least like 70 boxes are selling every single day still, so it's pretty high sales volume for this ETB. Now next here, the PC ETB. PC ETB has pretty much been stuck at 185. Like, look at this. Ever since release, it's literally, like, look at this line. Stayed the exact same price within the past few weeks, with no signs of really going up or down. There's just a lot of supply at this price point, but sales volume has kind of tapered a little bit, as you can see in the past week. Around like 10 to 15 boxes are selling every single day, but prices just really don't seem to be moving all that much for the PC ETB. Now, talking about why, in my opinion, it's a little bit strange that prices dropped just seemingly out of nowhere for one day, is because you look at the set value and it's still around $2,000. I did cross-check with TCG Player, and they're the exact same price, so this is updated. The total set value is still around $2,000, which is still much higher than other sets like Surging Sparks, 151, or even like Twilight in Paldea Evolved. It's more expensive than those sets. Surging Sparks, I believe, is like around $1,100-$1,200 total set value. So this is still way more expensive than any other main set. And it's kind of strange, though, that booster boxes one day just went down. It's very, just possible that, like I said, one person lists, people just copy lowest listed, then for one day that happens, they get bought out for one day, and then the next day they go back up. That's possible, and like I showed you guys with the sales volume, there only seems to be around like 15 boxes under 250. Then it just goes back up. But it's interesting that did happen. And you can see here all the other cards are still pretty much holding from what they were at before. Team Rocket's Mewtwo still almost $400. Garchomp's still around 200. All these other cards, they really haven't changed all that much in price. You can just look at all of them. They're pretty much the same as they were before, but booster box prices, have dropped. Now, is this an indication that maybe possibly, prices could drop even further because, prices dropped to 235 just randomly one day? Is that some indication that maybe people are starting to just sell everything? It's still too early to tell, but like I said, it is a little bit weird that it did happen just out of nowhere because there's really no reason. If card values were going down, for example, let's say the Mewtwo dropped into low 300s again, and you just saw everything dropping. I mean, it would make sense then for the prices to keep dropping, and I wouldn't be surprised if they dropped like $15-20 a box for booster box. That's not that surprising, but card prices seem to be holding up very well, and I think until we see card prices go down even further, I feel like this booster box seemingly is going to be still pretty strong at around 250. But over time, I believe card prices will probably start to drop off a little bit more, and maybe then we start to see Destined Rivals dropping off. But it's been about 2 weeks now since the release of Destined Rivals, and it's holding up much better than Journey Together. I feel like people are starting to not really, compare Journey Together and Destined Rivals as much anymore because it's pretty obvious that they're not the same. I mean, at this point, Journey Together, the set value was near like $1,000. Obviously, Destined Rivals is still at $2,000, so it's very unlikely it's going to get to Journey Together levels. But if prices do start to drop off for the cards and singles, I think you will see booster boxes start to fall in price. But sales volume still seems to be very strong, and I just don't see there to be a reason why prices will drop, at least in the near future, until sales volume drops off. And I think that will then be a possibility and something to talk about where prices for the booster boxes may start to fall. Now, they still haven't really fell under $230. At 237, what they're at now, it's like a $10-15 drop, which is not much. But like I said, it was sort of surprising they dropped a little bit. But still, I think if they do start dropping and card prices drop, I don't think they're going to go much below. I would say even 200. I really believe that 220, 230 will probably be where they settle at. But we'll see when we get restocks and stuff in the future, because I feel like for Destined Rivals, it's probably going to get some pretty soon. I mean, Journey Together really hasn't got any, and it's been for Journey Together, like a few months now. So kind of surprised, I guess, Journey Together really hasn't got anything. But Destined Rivals, it is a lot more expensive than Journey Together. So maybe Pokemon will prioritize Destined Rivals. Maybe it'll get restocked earlier, and we'll see how prices move then. But for now, the set is holding very strong, and I think this one day where prices dropped is not a big deal, but it was something I guess worth noting about. And you guys can leave down in the comments below why you think it happened. It was just kind of random in my opinion, because as you can see here, nothing really dropped at all. Sales volume is still about the same as it was before. So just, I guess, a one-off day. But that's all I want to talk about here and show you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Yes, the title, me saying crash, is obviously an over-exaggeration, but people just like hearing about crashes and using that word, so I had to use it in the title. But just a small blip, I guess, but the graph does look pretty insane with how it's dropped, even though it's only like $15. But that's all I have here for you guys here. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.